G'day there mates and Sheilas, especially the Sheilas. It's your boy I Read Reddit back at it again with more Entitled Parents tomfoolery. Now in today's episode, we're going to learn how to throw a shrimp on the barbie and cook some prawns the Australian way. So sit back, relax and get comfy. You're going to love this delicious episode. Now our first story was posted by a user, Imaginary-Broccoli6, titled, Entitled Dad yells at my cousin for parking at his spot for electric cars. Doesn't know my cousin owns an electric car and he didn't. So recently I got back into contact with my cousin, who's currently living in Seattle, originally from Indonesia like me. Now, she is obsessed with electric cars since they're quiet and yada yada, more mileage, yada yada. She recently bought a 2016 Fiat 500e electric car. While on the outside it looks like a normal car, there are obvious signs that shows that the car is electric. One day she was heading back to her apartment and parked her car in the basement. In her apartment parking lot, there are 5 spots for electric cars, and she parked in one of them. As she got out to plug in the charger, an SUV to her description was a Ford, drove up and stopped behind her. The conversation went like this. ED is entitled douche and C is cousin. You can't park there, it's for electric cars, and I have one, so move, which was an obvious lie. Sir, I know for a fact that your car's gas-powered and my car's electric. I'm parking at the right spot, and besides I live here, you puta, putangina mo? She says puta a lot, despite me telling her what it means. Doesn't matter, move your car so I can park there, all the spots are full. My car's electric, I can prove it to you. And she opens the cap for the plug. Listen, I don't care, just move. I'm not moving for your pollution vehicle. Just move, dang it. No! Your car isn't even electric. Only Tesla is electric. Other car brands have electric too, puta. Besides, it even shows electric car on the real bumper. Can't you see? Just fudging move, or else. Sorry weirdo, I'm not moving. Now get your piece of crap out of here, okay? Puta? The entitled dad then drove off and left, and my cousin went back to her apartment. She came back down later because she left her textbooks, and that's when she saw that her windshield was smashed. Luckily, because of the apartment's cameras, they caught the perpetrator, and it was the entitled dad who used a golf club. Needless to say, he had to pay for the damages, and was forced to park his car somewhere else. No arrests, just a dumb entitled dad that doesn't know that there are other brands that make electric cars other than Tesla. Edit, I just asked my cousin and she said that the car he was driving is a Ford Escape. Edit 3, some of you suggested that my cousin goes to a small claims court, but my cousin doesn't want to and couldn't care less about the windshield damage. The entitled dad paid, and that's all she cares about. Our next story was posted by user Shadow Phoenix, titled, Entitled Parents screams I'm an alcoholic and that I should leave the grocery store. Hey folks, yesterday I encountered another parent who thought they have superiority over me. They don't. I can buy whatever I want, whenever I want, because I'm an adult. Unfortunately for me, I got sick right after the Easter weekend. I described it to my mum as your average flu with a drizzle of diarrhea and sprinkled with tummy cramps. Fantastic! I've been working at home this whole week, bless my job, and didn't get out of the house often. Yesterday, I was finally feeling a tad better, and my boyfriend suggested that we meet up at our local grocery store to buy some dinner. Wonderful idea! It gets me out of the house, and we spent a bit of time together. On the way to the store, my boyfriend called that he was a bit late due to the huge traffic jams in the city. Fine by me, I can wait. Next to our grocery store is a liquor store, and I just received my salary. I had money to spend, but nah, not that much. But enough to sparkle the brilliant idea to buy me a bottle of whiskey. Got into the store, picked 2 whiskeys, Lafrage, a 10-year-old, and a naked grouse, for those wondering. Paid, and got out of the store with my 2 baby bottles. I was just standing outside the grocery store, and the liquor store with my bottles in hand, waiting for my boyfriend. Doing nothing really, other than checking my phone every now and then to see where my boyfriend's at. Yay, WhatsApp location share. In comes Dolores, slightly chubby mummy with her 2 kids, 10 and 7 years old. I was paying attention to my phone, so I didn't see her getting in, but why should I bother, right? Dolores tapped me on my shoulder and said, "Pardon me, little girl, but you're definitely not old enough to buy these bottles." She actually tries to pick the bottles out of my arm. I jump back, protecting my bottles with my phone in hand. My face had an expression which Dolores certainly didn't like. "What do you think you're doing, young lady?" "What do you think you're doing?" I respond. "You can't just assume that I'm not old enough to buy liquor and then proceed to steal it from me. I'm 23 and you keep your hands to yourself. Besides, shouldn't you be a role model to your kids and not teach them to be nosy and steal from other people?" That comment did not sit well with Dolores either. Not at all. "Don't lecture me on how to raise my kids. You're not a mum. You know nothing, you filthy alcoholic. Leave this store or I'll call the police," she screams. If you looked real close, you could see steam coming out of her ears and nose. Her kids looked terrified and tried to hide behind their mum. I felt really sorry for the kids, but I'm not going to leave the store just because she's sticking her nose in my business. "Look, you can call the police all you want, but you know you're going to lose, right? There are tapes in a liquor store that shows me buying these bottles and showing my ID card to the cashier to verify that I'm old enough to buy it at all. I've done nothing wrong, I was only waiting here, and you're making my life a living hell. Just get your ugly butt nose out of my business and do your shoppings." Oh ho, Dolores was fuming. But she knew I was right. She stomped off into the store with her kids in tow. Just shy of a minute later, my boyfriend arrives, and we get into the grocery store as well. I put the bottles in our cart, and we get into a discussion about what we should get for dinner. In the corner of my eye, I see a hand reach into our cart to the bottles. It's Dolores again. This time, however, my boyfriend's with me, and he can become intimidating quickly. "What do you think you're doing?" said my boyfriend in a very stern voice. "She's an alcoholic. She doesn't deserve this," Dolores responded. Oh my, such a classic response, hey? But my boyfriend is not satisfied with that answer. First, she is not an alcoholic. How would you even know? We don't know you. Second, she just enjoys a whiskey every now and then and likes variation. Do you enjoy eating fries every day? 'Cause you look like you do. But don't you like to replace it with a pizza every now and then? Third, don't you dare insult her again. With every word he spoke, it looked like he became bigger and bigger. Dolores shrank and became smaller and smaller. It was a delight to see. She got her hand out of the cart, huffed and puffed like every entitled mother does, and continued doing her shopping. Every time we came across her in the shop, she gave us a death glare and quickly walked the opposite way to get away from us. After dinner, my boyfriend and I laughed the situation off while enjoying a glass of whiskey. And they all lived happily ever after. The end. Our next story was posted by user OkuroIshimoto, titled, "My entitled stepmom decides that if she's vegan, everyone else has to be too." So since my recent post got a fair bit of attention, I figured I would share some experience from earlier on in my life. So my dad is a very complex person. Long story short, he's a narcissistic D-bag who gets with women until he's drained them dry of all their funds and put them into crippling debt. Then he fricks off to another woman. I'll go into more detail about him in another post because it's a long story. I never really had a problem with my stepmother at first. She was a nice enough lady, even though she was too stupid to leave my dad, even after being provided with numerous pieces of evidence about him from numerous other women, including my mother and I. When my dad moved to Sarnia with her, a town in Ontario just across from Michigan, also 3 friggin' hours away from where I live, so visitation was a pain, things got, well, bad. She owned 4 cats at the time, 2 of which passed away, but they got a doggo too. and I didn't see that as too big of an issue. That is until I smelled the inside of that house. Veganism plus untreated cat litter does not equal good smells. I brought this up only to be called a disrespectful little crap by my dad, who again, story for another time. As time went on, my disliking for her started to grow. She has a son and a daughter, both of whom are adults and still live with her. I don't mind my stepbrother, he's cool, but my stepsister's the one who got her mum on the whole veganism thing, and while I've never had a conversation with her, I've heard how obnoxious she can be. Let me begin this particular encounter by saying I have nothing against people who are vegan. I'm just not. I'm perfectly capable of respecting your beliefs. I only ask that you, in return, respect mine. Interestingly, when my stepmom was coming to my dad's apartment, eating non-vegan food was not a problem at all. We had vegan stuff there for her if she wanted it, and all was well. However, rules changed when my dad moved in with her. I was expecting the no eating non-vegan items in the house rule. And while it took some getting used to, I could respect that. It's her house, and if she doesn't want anything non-vegan, then that's her choice. Then it started getting flat out invalid. My stepbrother isn't vegan, and we'd stay up pretty late playing video games or whatever. If we got hungry, we'd go to Dairy Queen or Wendy's or something. We'd never bring anything back, unless there were fries or something, since we were able to respect the rules of the house. When my dad and stepmom finally found this out, however, things weren't too good. They demanded that we stopped going to those restaurants because they said us going was just to go against them, and that we were only allowed to go to the A&W and only get Beyond Meat burgers without cheese or mayo or anything non-vegan. We'd still go to Dairy Queen, we'd just eat all of it and then go buy fries at A&W to bring back home later. We went out to a restaurant just across the bridge from Michigan, lovely place by the way, and things got bad right when we got there. Stepbrother and stepsister weren't there, so it was just my little brother, my entitled dad, my stepmother, and I. The stepmother who will keep as entitled mother, since people are usually used to that. The waitress comes along and goes, "Hi there, table for 4? Yes, and do you have any vegan menu? I'm vegan, so I need a vegan menu." She then, over-exaggeratingly, gestures to her top, which has vegan in big, bold letters. Yeah, we do. Let me just go grab them and I'll bring them to your table. So we get seated, and she gets a vegan menu, while the rest of us get regular ones. This is great, I thought. I won't have to eat vegan crap. Nope. So, what can we get for you today? Little brother goes, "I'll have a cheeseburger and fries." Entitled mother and entitled dad don't seem thrilled, but let him. I should note that my dad and stepmom play favorites to the max, because I know what kind of person my dad is, and am more than willing to call him out whenever and whenever. So I say, I'll have the bacon-wrapped chicken. Sounds bloody awesome, and the least vegan thing I could get. The entitled mom goes, no you're not. Why not? Because it isn't vegan. You just let my little brother get a cheeseburger, you bloody moron. At this point in life, I had lost all respect for both of them and cussed them out frequently. I have no filter when it comes to them. Hey, what the freak did you just say? My dad only spoke when I said anything to my stepmother because he's a bloody softie, unless defending her means he might get some softie later. I called her a bloody moron and a complete hypocrite, hey? You little crap, you're not getting a dang thing. I don't give a crap. The smell of cat litter and tofu ruined my appetite anyway. So I'm sitting there, eating some of my brother's fries, and her onion rings get to the table, covered in cheese. The entitled mum goes, does this fudging look vegan to you? Oh, sorry. You must have gotten the other customers by mistake. Let me just swap this out for you. The entitled mother then proceeds to throw the onion rings at the worker, getting the cheese all over her uniform, and gets up before storming out. We, of course, had to follow, but I took a 20 out of my wallet and gave it to her. She definitely deserved it. I was then blamed for it because if you hadn't tried to order something that wasn't vegan, they wouldn't have fricked it up. even though the little brother had ordered a damn cheeseburger. I have numerous crazy vegan stepmom stories, so I might post more if you guys want. Our last story comes from user Shadow Phoenix, titled, Just Let the Ball Through. Heya, this post is from mobile, so you know the drill. Text format, yada yada, let's go. When I was between 13 and 18, I played water polo as the one and only living target of my team, aka the goalkeeper. For some reason, I was crazy enough to enjoy keeping the ball out of the net. During the season, I'd have 1 or 2 matches on Saturdays, since I was playing for 2 teams as well. I was allowed to do so because I was still under 18, except for the last few matches. As most of you know, parents are prone to get overexcited when it comes to their kids playing sports. The same goes for water polo as well. I could often hear them scream and yell from the grandstand, balcony, or wherever the supporters are located within the swimming pool. As a player, you rarely get approached by parents since you look completely different in the water with the cap on and everything. However, on this one particular match, one of the parents came up to me and the following conversation occurred. "Hey, you're my team's keeper, right?" Slightly hesitant, I go, "Yeah." "Why?" "Well, my daughter is playing against you today and it's her first match." It was silent for a moment, and I just started staring at the entitled parent with question marks above my head. So? "Well, you could just let the ball through when she shoots, right? She's number X. I forgot the actual number." "You want me to just let the ball through?" "Yes." "Because it's your daughter's first game? You just want me to set up the game?" "Yes." "Right." It was silent again. "So will you do it?" "Sure." The entitled parent walked away with a big smile on her face. I saw her whispering something in her daughter's ear. About half an hour later, I was in the water, warming up with a teammate. 10 minutes before the match started, we had a team meeting. There, I told everybody my encounter with the entitled parent and her request. Everybody was disgusted, so we devised a plan to get back at her. Here is something important to know. During my time playing water polo, players were allowed to do nearly everything to another player, as long as they touched the ball. So as soon as the match started, my whole team took literally every opportunity to get back at the girl. Every time she had the ball, someone would submerge her. Every time she managed to get up close to the goal, I'd sprint the hell out of there like a hippopotamus on turbocharge. Yes, I made myself big in the water for extra intimidation, and then jump high out of the water with my swimming suit fully visible. This scared her multiple times, which makes for easy interception. I could hear the entitled parent scream from the balcony, "We had a deal!" But I had none of it. After the match, one of the referees came to ask me what the entitled parent was yelling about and why the whole team was picking on her daughter. I told the referee the whole story and our tactic to get back at the entitled parent and her daughter for having the audacity to ask such a thing. The referee said he heard enough and went away. With a good laugh, my teammates and I got changed and headed to the canteen. As soon as we got there, we could see some commotion was going down. We got into the huddle to see what was going on. There I saw the referee I spoke to and the entitled parent. The referee goes, "You're banned from all your daughter's matches for the rest of the season. You have no right to set up a game like you did today." But she agreed. She caught a glimpse of me. The entitled parent shrieked, "There she is!" and tried to pull me out of the crowd. I stood my ground and didn't move an inch. "You let her go or we'll call the police!" The entitled parent let me go and stormed off with her daughter, running right behind her. Fast forward 2 months, and I came across the entitled parent's daughter again when we played against each other in my hometown this time. We had a talk beforehand about what happened last time we met. She was actually pretty glad we went hard on her during the match. She got rid of the idiocracies of her mum and the entitled parent's daughter, says, "It's water polo after all. Things are bound to get rough, right?" We had a good laugh and a good match. Alright, well that's the end of the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Tell me what you think about it in the comments section, and I'll get back to you later. Bye!